There's a general debate that leaders are born and not made. In my opinion, some leaders are born while some are made. You don't have to take my word for it, but then you can reach your own conclusion after you've joined us on this one-of-a-kind leadership podcast where, entrepreneurs are being inspired, women in business, and also visionaries who recognize and seize opportunities, who adapt and build sustainable businesses. My name is Bianca Gowani, and this is the Leaders Create podcast. Welcome. On this episode, I have with me two beautiful CEOs and founders of Tantacom Group. Now, these women have proven that if it can be done, then it will be done, regardless of your gender. They've broken glass ceilings. These women have taken the bull by the horn, conquering one industry after the other. I'm talking of hard workers and go-getters, and they're none other than Jennifer Odofuwa and Olufunke Adu. Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
You look so good.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
I'm loving the green.
Thank you.
So beautiful.
Thank you. And I love the panache, the gorgeousness, the beauty. I mean, it's not every day you get to sit in front of powerful, beautiful women. So I am so honored.
Thank you.
I am very honored.
Thank you. I'm blushing.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about Tantacom Group. What year was Tantacom founded?
Tantacom was founded in 2016 by myself and Funke. And prior to that, we had known each other for about 8 years and had worked extensively with each other. So it was only but natural for us to say, you know what, I think we could do this together. And during the 8 years that we had worked together, we had done, so many things together, and we had built a bond. So when the thought came on, it would be good for us to, even though we had our separate businesses, it would be good for us to put the forces together, become a force and do this and build Tantacom. I didn't second guess it. I knew that I had a pillar beside me, and that was how Tantacom was born.
So before Tantacom, what other business have you tried and failed at? Tantacom wasn't the first, was it?
No, it wasn't.
So what other have you tried and failed at?
Okay. Before Tantacom, we were together. We worked together in an events company. It was an events management company that literally started from selling ice blocks. Yes, that was how the company was built. It was built by the sales of ice blocks. And while those ice blocks were being delivered to the venues where they were needed, there was a need. We found that there was a need for things to be done in a better way. And then we decided, we could do event planning. We had no idea, how to do it, but we decided, we're going to be a part of it. And it was just from the wanting to do more, you understand, and wanting to identifying a gap and being able to fill those gaps, so we were part of that, founding that company, and it was basically event planning. And then so we would go and deliver ice blocks, and then we would be like, why is that table looking like that? Why is that chair like that? We could do better, and then we founded the event company. We had a third person, and myself and Funke worked in that company. I was the executive director, and she was in the business development department. And that company grew from the point of having to identify those event management needs, and then building an event management company, and then servicing different clients. And I remember back in the days, we didn't have those clients, and we would go to event centers all around Lagos and, get the names from the people that were keeping the information, and we were like, please, we need this contact of who's getting married. Can you give it to us? And I remember I was pregnant with my first child then, and I scouted all the event centers in Lagos, literally all of them, and I built relationships with these people, and then we were able to get these contacts. And anytime we had to call the client, the bride to be, they're like, how did you get my number? I'm like, oh, somebody that knows somebody. that,
knows
you
the
know,
person.
knows that you're getting married, you know, and gave us your number. And we believe that our service would be required because we would, you know, make a difference and would give you an experience that you would never forget, an unforgettable experience. And, you know, of course, some of them obliged, and they were so excited about the fact that, you know, we congratulated them about their weddings and all of that. But some of them were like, hell no, I'm not speaking to you, you know. So we did that, and then we were able to, and then eventually we were able to come up with packages. We kind of like disrupted the entire event industry by coming up with, we found out that we realized that when people come, they just come and they just ask for, you know, event planning services. But how could we increase this and get more clients? How about we come up with different packages for different people? Because when people come to you for an event planning package, you have to kind of like understand their budget, find a way to ensure their budget works. So there's quite a lot of back and forth. And then in order to fill up the sales funnel, we had to come up with different packages. And I remember back then we came up with a package called No Wahala, and it was, you know, 65,000 naira. And basically you had basic things. You had like your decor, and then you had some other services, which would be maybe makeup, bridal makeup, DJ, MC. And we had a list of all those services, and you could just pick 3 and add it to your decor of 500 guests. It was like a standard decor of 500 guests, which will have standard items, which would be like your drapery, and we were very explicit, your drapery, your chair covers, your this, your that. And you know, it was all for 65,000, but nobody ever paid 65,000. So it was a way to lure them in and then be able to upsell and then increase that 65,000 to at times over 1 million, at times 2 million. And then we had other packages that could, so eventually we had people that were able to put them within a package without going back and forth too much. And that happened for a very long time, but eventually things didn't work out in the business, and the business is no more. Yes. So I know you asked me, you know, and it was after then that myself and Funke decided that we were going to start Tantacom.
Okay, over to you, Miss Funke. I need to ask how you were able to tell that you want to build a partnership with her, because out there, I don't know if it's general knowledge, but people say it a lot, that it's difficult for 2 friends to build a business. There'll be fights, especially female friends. There'll be fights, you know, there'll be at loggerheads, and most times the business just dies. But you 2 have stood the test of time. You've proven that that's just a rumor, a myth, because you've shattered that. I mean, you're waxing stronger and stronger. So please tell us how. How did you know that she was going to be your business partner, even as your friend?
All right, so when we started, there was actually no plan to do the business together, right? She had a business, I had mine, and as friends, because we've worked together in the past, like she rightly said. And so one day we just sat down, we're talking about goals, you know, and we thought about it. Why can't we just start a business together? And, you know, it was even like, I can remember the day, I think we're on the bed, we're just gisting, and the thoughts pop up, and we're like, okay, one day we're going to give this business. And we came up with, okay, should we do combination of names? You know, different things were coming up to our minds, and we didn't even second guess it. You know, the thoughts just popped up in our head, and we went with it. And I had peace with it, because Jennifer is someone that I respect so much, and she does respect me too. And I think that was it.
That was how you just knew that she was the one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this sounds very rosy and nice, and I like it. And that brings me to my next question. So I want to know your secret. I want you to tell us, what exactly is it that you brought, and then she brought the spice you brought to form Tantacom? I want to know what it is. I mean, Tantacom is big, it's strong. How?
All right. I believe that 2 individuals that have great desires, 2 powerful women that respect each other, that know what they want, because
I like that word.
Definitely,
2 powerful women.
You know, I definitely know what I want, and Jenny does really know what she wants, and I think that's what we bring to the table. So if you have to do anything with Tantacom, you know that you're not just doing anything with an individual that is already powerful. You can imagine the combination of two powerful women. You know,
exactly.
so and when it comes to strengths and weaknesses, I know that no one is perfect. That's so. I have weaknesses, and Jenny just kind of compliments me, because in fact, even when we're going through issues or where something is not going the way we want it, and I'm like, you know, I'm so much like, you know, paranoid and all that, and Jenny's on the other side, very calm, and she'll be like, she will just,
So are you saying, I'm sorry to cut you short, are you saying that you're the...
No, let me finish.
She's the cool one.
No, let me finish. And at times when she is the other way, I'm like very calm. So we kind of, in fact, people don't know how we get to do it. And it just happened without us even talking about it. I don't know how we get to, do that together, but I just see myself when she's angry, I never get angry. You can never see both of us getting angry at the same time or raking for someone at the same time. It's always like, okay, when Jenny is raking, I can just be extremely quiet. And when I'm raking, and she's just trying to resolve the issue. So it's always been like that. So I feel that that's what, we bring to the table, because when it comes to Tantacom, we deal with different aspects of Tantacom. So when it comes to the marketing, the communications, bits of thing, Jenny is like everywhere. Jenny knows what is happening at every point in time. In fact, she is like, before I wake up in the morning, she must have sent me, this is happening to this place, something is happening here, and she just, bombard me with different messages of things that is happening around the world and all that. And I am on the other side when it comes to implementation, that is where I function, and she does the other one. So we kind of bring different things to, and that's not to say that we both can't do it, but we just kind of have our responsibilities, and I kind of know that when it comes to marketing and communications, she has that strength, and she just knows that, okay, when it comes to implementation, I'll give it to Funke. But it doesn't mean that when we have to go into each other's shoes, we cannot do it. We can actually do it perfectly well, but we just know that, okay, she's better off, and
So before I ask my next question, I have to ask you, how you two handle conflict? Of course there'll be conflict. How have you been able to handle it?
So, I think one of the biggest fights we had since we started Tantacom was because, Funke she's like our last born. Yeah. So beyond the business partnership, beyond the friendship, beyond the fact that our kids are friends, they're like best friends. So my first son is 16. Her daughter is 15. They're like twins. They're like twins. My second son is 13. Her daughter is 11.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, even though I don't understand what's going on right now, but they're just like good friends. So beyond all of that, my family has embraced Funke, and I mean, because every time I have conversations with them, it's like, Funke. So you have my siblings say, oh, how's my baby sister? And I'm like, I'm your baby sister. I'm like, no, Funke is our baby sister now, And anytime we have family gatherings, they're like, why is Funke not here? So I feel that one of our biggest fights, I'll talk about biggest fights before I talk about how we resolve conflicts, has been, there was a time I wanted to have my birthday, and I think it was like about 4 or 5 years ago, and I told my mom's very close to me, she's like my world, so I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I'm celebrating my birthday, and she was like, why do you even need to celebrate your birthday? I'm like, why not? And then so she wasn't having her way with me. And then, of course, she reached out to Funke. And I totally just ignored her at some point because I was like, it's my birthday and I want to do this, you're just supposed to support me, And then she reached out to Funke. And Funke said, okay, mommy. Okay, don't worry, we will not do the birthday. and then she had told my mom that. And then my mom now came to meet me and said, you see, Funke is such a good daughter. I told you not to do this birthday. You insisted that you were going to do it. I told Funke, and once Funke said we were not going to do it. So I was now upset. I'm like, why are you making decisions for me, to my mom? You understand? You're supposed to come and meet me and say, my mom is saying this, so what should I tell her? But out of the fact that, okay, she knew that, my mom is someone that, has our back like 24/7 all the days of our lives, she just had to say yes. But I didn't see it from that perspective. I just thought, no, talk to me about it. And then I'll say, see, I really want to do this birthday. Or we could agree and I'll say, okay, let me just bust it. But she had gone to give my mom that confirmation. I said, no, I'm not going to accept this. You're not going to make decisions on my behalf. You carry me along, you tell me, and let me make my decisions, It was a big fight that we were shouting at each other to the point that when I'm upset, I cry. I'm a crybaby. So it got to the point I was like, I screamed to the point. She was screaming and I was screaming. I'm like, why are you shouting at me? And it got to a point, everything just calmed and I don't even know how we resolved it. I think you must have been.
No, I think we just kept quiet for a long, that's the longest time.
So I just didn't talk to her.
Together,
And you were together in the same space.
Yeah, we're together in the same space, and I just thought, nah. And then, what happened? How did we even resolve that?
So I think you had an information to share with me.
So that's the thing.
And, there's always something.
Yeah, because we do so many things together. We can't afford to fight with each other because Tantacom is bigger than us. Mm-hmm. Decisions have to be made, and they have to be made in real time. So I'm not going to allow, sentiments, take away from what is supposed to be done for the business to steer the ship and all of that. So when a business decision is supposed to be made, and she's my best friend, even though I have some other friends that are competing that we're fighting on that, and all that. But, she's, we share the same vision. It's and all the little fights have been, So when we don't agree on stuff, and this is why I see that a lot of people say, oh, how is it possible to have two people be CEOs, even though we have different responsibilities. We make decisions for the company together. It's taken us a while to get there. There are times where I've made decisions and maybe she's not too happy with it. And she's like, well, you already said it. So, we're just going to have to go ahead with it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I just thought it was necessary, So I noticed that there are times that she's not happy with what I've done because I didn't have conversations with her. But out of respect, I've made sure that I am transparent about things and made sure that, so there's a difference between honesty and transparency. Mm-hmm. And it is very important when you want to keep that relationship and when you want to make the business work. And that's what, that just speaks to the question that you were asking earlier, that people think it's unthinkable. Yeah. Like, how do you even get to do it? Exactly. I feel that it's important that you respect this person. There has to be that mutual respect and that you trust this person. Mm-hmm. You trust this person's judgment to a high degree. Like, I can leave the business and I trust Funke that she'll steer the ship. Mm-hmm. And I know that she will do vice versa. And this was built over the years. It wasn't just something that we decided to do. It was built from us failing and relearning, unlearning, and developing ourselves intentionally to be able to ensure that we make it work. So it wasn't just a walk in the park. We were intentional. We were transparent about issues. I'm very big on transparency because while you say you're being honest, you might not be transparent. And when you're not transparent, then I believe that the way my brain works, I can overthink, so you need to ensure that, knowing me, you need to ensure that you're telling me as it is. Just tell me as it is. And I feel that she's been able to identify the kind of person I am. She knows me more than I even know myself. And that's the thing. And we've taken out time intentionally to know each other, to be there for each other, to pray together. Yeah. And beyond everything, beyond the transparency, beyond the trust beyond beyond everything is just having the same faith, having the same belief about life. That's another thing. I know it's hard because we're like, the truth about it is that we have many conversations. You can leave myself and Funke in this room for a month and we will not need anybody. There's always something to talk about. There's always something to dream about. So we're both dreamers, we're both dreamers. We sit in a space and we're like, why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? And I feel that our faith just is the center of it all. We believe in the same things. We believe in Jesus Christ. We believe that God is the center of it all. We believe that you cannot be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is spiritual. You cannot thrive as an entrepreneur if you do not put the faith that you have in God first. You have to be God-centric, because that is how you're able to build that desire. That's how you're able to even walk together. So I cannot say that aside from us being able to, we respect each other, we love each other, there's that synergy. Beyond it, I feel it is God.
Yeah.
Yes, beyond it, I think it's God. We share the word. I could call Funke today and I'm like, and for an hour, we're just speaking the word of God to each other. And those are during like down moments, down times where we have nothing. And I'm like, we have everything, and we're able to talk. And as I'm giving her one, she's giving me another. As I'm giving her one, she's giving me another. And, we begin to encourage each other in Christ, knowing that we're children of God and all his promises will be fulfilled, at the right time. And so that's it. That's
I really
it.
like this.
So to you, Ms. Funke, what's the biggest motivation that you've gotten from her?
Wow, biggest. She motivates me a lot. So when you say biggest, I'll say the biggest is the fact that when, like she rightly said, when we are down, right, Jenny is the one that will come up. What we don't have, she says we have it. All the time, she's like, no, we might not be where we want to be, but I believe that we already have this. So that motivates me a lot, because I kind of have it. I'm just very logical. As much as I'm a believer, like my faith, you need to know me well to know that when it comes to faith, I'm very big on faith. But Jenny, on the other hand, just motivates me. At times, faith comes by hearing and hearing of, right? And now being around someone that is constantly just speaking that word, to you, and it's just kind of like, okay, this is what I want to hear. Because at times in life, it's normal. At times things don't go rosy all the time. At times that no matter how strong you are, because you are human, it will happen that you just feel down. And you just need someone around you that would let you know that you might not have everything that you want, but it's not the end of the world. Life goes on, and you just move on and believe that there's nothing God cannot do. And she kind of just speak it all the time. That motivates me a lot, because anytime I just remember that, okay, I call her, I'm like, I don't feel good at all. And in fact, you don't even need to, she'll just start. She'll just start with those words, the word of God that I already know, and she'll just begin to say it over and over again. So and before we finish that conversation, I see that my mood would have changed, that moody. And what we do most of the time is we have songs that we listen to, that even as we're not together, we are listening to the same kind of music at home, worship songs. And there was a particular time that we did a project, and the project was like, we're going to lose a lot of money. In fact, we have loaned money to be able to implement the job, and we're now having issues with them releasing the money to us. And I was like, I'm not going to release this money to you. No, I'm not going to. And we were like, if this money don't come in, then we're in trouble.
You're in debt, yes.
And it's a lot of money. I don't want to mention the worth, but it was a lot of money. And we kind of just had this song, Jare, you had enough, and we sing that the way we it's like I wake up to the song, I sleep and I sing the song, and I didn't even know the same thing was happening to her. And one of the, because Jenny is like, Jenny's a talker. She just I'm like, that's the same song that I've been, sleeping and waking up with, and God did it.
Oh.
God did it. We didn't even have to do anything. We didn't have to call anyone to call the man. And the man woke up one morning, called us. I'm like, you know what? Can you send me your account number? I need to refund your money. And myself and Jenny just looked at each other. We're like, are we dreaming? God did it. Because at that time, we're at the lowest and we're thinking that we've loaned money to do this job. If this money don't come in, then we'll be in trouble. And how do we begin to? It's not even about being in trouble. The timelines to actually pay back the money was an issue. And this guy called us at the right time to ask for the account number, and he paid us in full. And we just looked at it, and it just brought us back to saying that God is enough for us. Is Jehovah Jireh, the one that's, that makes everything that you want available. He provides, and he would always provide for you. If God can, give or can clothe flowers, it can feed the birds. How about me that he created in his image and his moral likeness? So I just believe that the word of God has also been something that is a thing that we share between each other, and that's one motivation that she gives me.
Speaking of projects, what was your first ever project?
Wow, I can't forget that project.
And tell us your experience from that project.
Okay, so we had this, so perhaps there have been other projects, but they're not major projects, right?
Okay, yeah.
But when we say Tantacom becoming like a company, after we've registered, after we've started to begin to put some profile together, so we had this job, Lagos, Your Lagos, and it was a concert. Yeah, we've never done a concert before, but yes, we've never done a concert before, and that was kind of our first big project because it was actually huge. We used the Ikeja City Mall, and it was big. Then we had a lot of stakeholders. And what did we learn from that job? I think one thing we learned, before that job, there was a particular man that we worked with in another event, and the person that gave us the job said he wanted us to work with this person. Meanwhile, our experience with him was not totally good. And I was like, and I've told him that I wasn't going to have anything to do with him anymore. And this client, came to us. I was like, okay, yes, I want you guys to do this for me. And we had to come up with plans. He just had an idea, and we're able to blow there. And that is what you should know us for. You can't come up with, we don't do anything ideas. Small. We don't do basic. We just, if you come to us with let me say a drop of salt, we'll turn into a bag of salt. That is who we are. We just try to, and I think we're just like that. We don't try. It's not about the money for us. It's about doing something different, because we've done something before. We want to do another one that is better than what we've done. So I think that's why. So it just came up with an idea, and I said, I want to do it this way, and we just blew the whole thing up. Then it came. I was like, okay, so there's this guy that I would like you to work with. He's like my brother. And I was like, okay, send me the name. And Sam gave me that. I said, no. I'm not going to work with this person. And he was like, you have to work with him. If you want to, you have to work with him. And I was like, oh, jeez, I have to work with this man. So then we had to make up with him.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's, we had to make up with him. So I just had to call him and tell him that I actually don't feel like working with you, but my client insists that I have to work with you. I'm not happy with what you did, and I believe that you will not make it happen again. And we became brothers and sisters, and it actually happened to be someone that I respect so much. At the end of the day, but I didn't know, because at that time that we're working together, we've not met physically. It's just been phone conversations. His staff calling us and exchanging ideas and all that. So by the time I met him in person, and I got to know that he was actually a cool man that we can work with. And so what I learned from that, taking it back to what we learned, is actually the ability to be able to make things work, even though you feel that, because we've made up our mind that we're not going to work with him again. But because our clients actually wanted us to,
Yeah.
some people might be like, no, and it will cause friction between you and your client. I just thought about it that, if we have to be on this project, and in fact, we've done a lot on that project, that we have to, there was no other way. And we needed to work with the man. At the end of the day, actually was a good one because it was a successful event. The man was happy. In fact, we did it together as family. And at the end of the day, he contributed a lot to the event as well. So I just believe that one just needs to learn how to be flexible. Don't be rigid in situations like that. Yeah.
And in addition to that, what we actually what really helped, by the reason of the fact that we mended that relationship, for the next 3 to 4 years, most of our major jobs between those years with Lagos State government came from him.
Ooh.
Yes, because of the fact that we mended that relationship, not because of the fact, I'm saying we did that, but not even knowing what could come out of it. And that's why it's important that in business, there's no enemy. You see people in politics today, they are in two different parties, but when it's time for a wedding, they're together. You understand? So there's no enemy in business. If someone has offended you, it's okay. Just have conversations with the person, set your boundaries, and move on for it, because you never can tell what that person would be for you in the nearest future. During that era, most of our biggest jobs came from him. I'm saying birthday of the mother of the governor, I'm saying a lot of big jobs, even Countdown, Lagos Countdown, those are some of the jobs that we did alongside with him, so it's important that, you let go, because you never can tell what will happen next.
So we didn't even know that I had a connect, right? But he saw what we did and we became friends. And he liked it. I was like, so you guys can do this. There has jobs that are upcoming that he would like us to come up with concepts for him and all that. And we worked together for like 3 years, and it was actually big jobs.
It was good. It was good. It was good.
Before I ask you this question, I want to ask. So she said you got the name Tantacom.
Yes.
While you were lying on the bed.
Yeah, he's lying. Just
So you guys lay on the bed, just dead, and then came up with Tantacom.
Yes.
How? Why? What's Tantacom?
Okay, so I'd been from like 2015. I had my event company called the Bloom Event, and then she had her kind of like event company called Tell.
Okay.
And we were both doing events, but I wanted to do more. She also wanted to do more, and we didn't want to box ourselves into just event decorations. I just felt that I could do more, and so we thought, you know what, well, you already have your events company, I already have my events company, why not let us come up with something, a company that can do a whole lot more. So it was from just wanting more and wanting to do something bigger that we decided to come up with that, start that collaboration. And then, so while we're lying on the bed on that day, we just thought, we ran through so many names, they didn't connect. And then we thought, you know what, my Yoruba name is Omotanwa. Yes, it's Mojupe. And I also have a Yoruba name called Omotanwa, which is the child that we're looking for. I'm the last born, I'm the only girl. Yes, I know. And her Yoruba name is Taibat. So we just said, okay, Tam for Tanwa, and Ta for Taibat. Why not just use our names to build the company? And then it was Tantacom Communications. So we decided, so that's why we shortened it to Tantacom. And then we wanted to do experiential projects. We wanted to do experiential, even though at that point in time, we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. But because we wanted to do more, we decided, you know what, I think we can bring this to the table. And then so we said, okay, you know what, Tantacom Experiential Projects, and that's how we started. And we ensured that because we wanted to, build immersive experiences, we ensured that every brief that we had was experiential. We ensured that, there was an experience around everything that we did. Even the ones that didn't need, we just made sure that it was a part of it. And this was far back in 2016 and all of that. And that's how we came about the name, and that's how we started Tantacom.
Tantacom. I like that.
So in addition to
what
that,
she said,
right? I also, while we're coming up with names, our background is events, and we're thinking of, okay, why not project management, because we know that we have that. We've not gone for like an actual training on project management at that time. But that's why we actually named it Tantacom Experiential Projects, because at that time it wasn't about event. We wanted to do something totally different. We're hungry for more, and we just thought about it that we cannot just be limited to, we've done this for 8 years.
We're tired.
And we're tired. Can we not just do more? Can we handle projects? And we didn't even know how we're going to go about it, where the projects will come from. And what we did is, I think we took up a training on project management, because it's just like we have to be project management professionals, and for us to be able to handle projects so that we can be convinced that, okay, we can actually do this thing. Although we have know-how, because we feel that events are actually a project. Yeah. There's no event that you have that is not project. You need to initiate, you need to plan, and you need to execute, and that's what events people do. And we're just like, okay, but for the sake of being a professional, can we not just go for this course? I went for a project management course. We did it. In fact, we started the business. It was after we registered and we came for the course, that we now went for the course, and we just said, coming up with, okay, the things that the business will do. And we try as much as possible to take ourselves off social events, because we've done it for a long time, and we're like, we are not going to do anything social, like not sure. Okay, I would say concert is a social event, but a social event in terms of weddings, in terms of parties like that we were going to do away from it, because we had a lot of it, and we just wanted to do more. And we started projects, and I feel that the briefs that were coming in at that time were actually project management briefs. So that's how we actually do things. Majority of the time, we think about something, we don't know how we will achieve it, but we will start anyways. And while we start, is to start falling into place, right? So the briefs that came, we started getting briefs that had to do with mother, infant, and child projects that we had to work with different stakeholders. I'm talking about working with the community leaders, working with pregnant women, working with doctors, working with nurses, pharmacists, a lot of corporate organizations that, we worked with a telemedicine company, a lot of people. We had over 15 stakeholders.
Oh, wow.
And we were able to handle it. And while we're working on that project, we thought about it that, okay, well, what can we do differently to make, to get this project out there? How can people get to hear about this project? And that was when communications came into what we're doing. And although we've said communication, you can see that we've said communications from the beginning, but we didn't know the kind of communications we're even going to do, but we knew we're going to do communications. Yeah. But when we had this project, and we thought about it, okay, let's communicate this. What's there? How do they communicate? I started reading up, and we just read up, and I'll just actually, we can do it this way. And I've also been thinking, okay, and she will give, and we just do it. And that is what birthed Tantacom and all the projects that we're doing. And that's what we're into marketing as well, because majority of briefs are now coming afterwards. I had to now do with marketing. Lots of people will come, like, I saw that you did marketing for XYZ. Can you do the same for me? And we're like, oh, so we have to go into marketing. And that's why we learned on the job. So we started marketing. So we do 360 marketing. Experiential is part of marketing. Then we do PR. We do advertising, we do digital marketing. And it just came from people giving us the brief and believing that we can do it. And because we are so resourceful, and most of the time we don't want to tell our clients that we cannot, because they believe so much in us. The way they even tell us, I know you guys can do it, just go ahead and do this. And myself and Jenny will look at each other like, yes, we have to do it. And at that point, no idea, no clue on how we're going to implement it. But we have the can-do spirit. We always want to be more, and we just know that there is nothing that is not possible for us to achieve. So majority of the time, we go back after we have said yes with so much enthusiasm, like we can do it, then we go behind and be like,
Your drawing board.
Jenny will be the first person to say, hi, come. How are we going to do? Because I can tell you I can even tell you I can bring down this entire house. I will tell you that it's possible, there's nothing difficult and all that. And I just have that. And Jenny will now bring me, she's the one that is always pulling me back. Like, hold on. He said we can do it. How are we going to do it?
Yeah.
We'll do it. Let's look into it. And we begin to look into it. And we get it done. In fact, we get it done like a pro.
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you, we'll do it, and our clients are like, wow, you did a good
Exceed
job.
the expectations.
All the time.
Exceed.
I love that. I love
All
that.
the
I love that. So you know that many businesses sink after their first year, but Tantacom has been since 2016. How have you been able to keep this company afloat? Despite inflations and, the economy of the country year in, year out.
Bianca, it's been tough. It's been tough. Like I said earlier, running a business in Nigeria is spiritual. I'm telling you. One thing that I learned from where I was coming from is I kind of had a problem with the fact that as decorators, once you close a deal with a client, you're literally going to spend all the money buying things to implement that job. So what I'm saying is, when we were, for our business back then, when the money came in, we didn't even see the money. It was going out immediately. And we kept buying because we wanted to remain top of the mind to people, And in order to remain top of the mind to people, you have to be innovative. And to be innovative, it means you're having this today, tomorrow you're showing up in that, next tomorrow you're showing up in that. I mean, in terms of decor. So you can't use the same decor over and over and over and over again. And back in the days, there were things that you had to buy, I mean, collaboration wasn't really like the thing. So you had to own these things. I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that if I needed to do something, I had to buy. So all the money that the business was making was in, those, and then at times you go out to sites, you don't even come back home with them. Some of the guys had stolen them. Some of the guys would have, broken them and all of that, so it was a big problem for me. So when we were starting Tantacom, it was important for us to start lean. We built Tantacom on nothing. We started from zero capital. I mean, I remember the first time when we had come up with the name, Funke had said, oh, we need an office. And I'm like, I don't think so, So we kind of agreed on that, and we decided that, we're going to run, because of our past experience, we're going to run this company as lean as we can. Back then we had trucks. The truck driver would, mess up the truck, have accidents with the truck. It was a nightmare, and we decided, we're not going to do any of that. And so instead of starting Tantacom with an office, with trucks, with this, with that, we decided to keep our money and outsource. And that was how we built Tantacom. So while we were getting those high profile jobs, while we were getting those projects, we were ensuring that we were charging the client for all those other items. So what I mean is, the implementation, yes, but we were outsourcing logistics. We were outsourcing as many things as possible. Yes, that was how we started. For many years, that was how we ran Tantacom. And I'm saying this because I want to encourage someone out there. We all just have the notion that we have to have everything all together before you start a business. No, you don't. You don't. You just need to have the will to want to do the business. Grit, which is doing the same thing over and over again, because you know that this is what is going to get you to where you want to get to. So that perseverance, that strength, that you just have to repeat it again and again and again and again, you know. So those are one of the smart things I believe that we did in Tantacom. We did to have prevented us from sinking, because there was really nothing to sink. We were running on zero for a while, because remember, we started on nothing. We didn't have a capital, we didn't have any investors. We started and we built. So we built one block on the other, one block on the other, and we did that for so long. And I feel that's one of the reasons why we weren't able to, you know, lose the business for that long. We learned from our past experiences, and we decided that we were not going to do that, and we were going to grow organically. And the growth was exponential, because you know, I feel that generally in life you're supposed to have three kinds of people around you. You're supposed to have your coaches, you're supposed to have your mentors, and you're supposed to have your sponsors. It's very important. So I feel that we found a way, aside from learning from our past experiences, we found a way to have people that we could talk to around us. We didn't do it alone. Aside from, you know, running to the place of prayer and understanding who we were in Christ, you know, we ensured that we had people that we could talk to who were coaches. Okay, I don't think you should do this, even though we knew what we wanted to do. And that's another thing. You need to be able to understand how to cut through the noise, because a lot of people are going to tell you to do a lot of things, but it's important that you stay true to your authentic self. Know who you are, know what you want. But when it comes to business, especially in Nigeria, you need coaches, you need people that can, you know, that you can talk to. So we had that. We had a couple of people that, you know, and then we had mentors. We had people we really looked up to within the industry that were already where we wanted Tantacom to go. So we wanted Tantacom to be a leading marketing, communications, project management company. We had mentors within that space who were pretty much well-rounded. So they were well-rounded in terms of finance. They could advise us on how to work around our finances. They could advise us, and they were also God-centric. They, you know, believed in God, and you know, so we would, and it was important for us to surround ourselves with that. And also, lastly, sponsors. So I would talk on this because I think it's important that people understand that it might be a bit hard for you to just get some of those jobs. Yes, you do your best in terms of marketing and all that. Thank God now for digital marketing. You don't have to know anybody. Just know your onions. In fact, you don't even need to know your onions. AI is there to even help you, you know. So you can, you know, so you can learn a lot from AI. You know, it's made us super smart and all of that. You know, but what I'm even saying is, you know, right now you can, once you just have an idea and you're able to put it out there, it's no more about social media, it's about interest media. You know, whatever you're interested in, you can even just have 1,000 followers and have 1 million likes or 1 million insights or views, you know. So it's because you've put out a post that people are interested in, you know. So that aside, I feel that it is important that you have sponsors. And how do you even build sponsors? How do you have sponsors? You know, you need to have people that will talk for you in places that you are not. And this means that you need to be a person of integrity. It means that when someone tells you to do something, you exceed their expectation. When I say I'm going to deliver this project, I want to 2x it, not 10x, 2x it. I want to make sure that by the time I deliver this project, I blow your mind away. So that's how we've always worked in Tantacom. We've never just done the barest minimum. We tell you we're going to deliver A, we deliver A, B, C, D. And you're like, oh my God, wow. And that's what really drives me as an individual, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, is when I do something and my client is ecstatic. I want that feeling. I want to experience that. If I don't get it, I'm depressed. I'm literally depressed. It's beyond the money. You understand? You know, so I feel that those are some of the things that we've done. And as concerns sponsorship, how do you even have these sponsors? Some people feel, oh, how do you even get them? It is, you see the people that are around you. You need to learn how to serve. You need to learn how to serve, you know. So it's all not just going to come work for you at that moment. Learn how to give. Be a fountain, not a drain. You know, learn how to give. People will say, I don't have anything. You have your time. Give. Don't be around people and be needy. You know, high value people don't want, because they get needy people all the time.
Exactly.
You know, so when you're around them, what value can you bring to the table? You know, in terms of anything, even if it is the fruits that they'll be using to break their fast, you can get the best fruits in Lagos. So anytime they want to break that fast, they are telling you to help them get that fruit to break the fast. Do you understand? So it really goes beyond. So you need to be strategic. So if you want to have people that can speak and open doors for you when you're not there, you have to build it. You have to be intentional, and you have to be consistent, and you have to develop yourself to be worthy of those opportunities, you know, so that, you know, when you're someone that is not needy, you are a fountain, you're not a drain, the person gets close to you. And the person gets close to you, the person begins to rely on you. And when the person relies on you, you begin to become dependable. And when you're dependable, the person can open a door and say, I know Bianca. I can vouch for Bianca. Bianca will deliver on this project. You understand? Any scale of project, because you've been tested, you've been trusted, and the person can put their name on that table and say she will deliver. So it takes a strategy to be able to get to the point where you have high value people to be able to speak to you in places, speak about you in places that matter. And I feel that, coming back to your question of how we've been able to stay afloat, we've done that over and over and over again. And that's why we've been able to build these relationships. We've been able to sustain these relationships, and we've been able to nurture these relationships, because we've constantly remained problem solvers. We've constantly remained a fountain and not a drain.
I like that. That's quite powerful. That's quite powerful. I mean, I heard you say that as a young business person, you need to have 3 sets of people in your life: the coach, the mentors, and the sponsors.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
you
that.
should.
You know,
you should.
Thank you. Now,
Yes.
I need to ask a question for the young girls watching. Is it possible to have your coach, your mentor, and your sponsor as one person?
I don't think it's possible. You know why? Because a mentor is someone who's going to be busy. A mentor is someone who probably is even mentors to a lot of other people. You might want to see your mentor or speak to your mentor maybe like once in 3 to 6 months, you know, and you're able to say, okay, I've put together all of this and I'm ready. I'm coming with a truckload of questions, and one time in like about an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, you're able to solve for all of that. And you're able to give a feedback based on where the last conversation you had, okay, I've been able to do this, I've executed this, I've done that, you know. A coach is someone that you can talk to regularly. As someone that, you know, you can, you know, I'm having this problem, what do you think? I'm having this. But you can't run to your mentor like that. At times, for your sponsors, you might find
2-in-1.
you can't find a 2-in-1. You can, you know, honestly you can. It really depends on the type of person that sponsor is. We've had people whereby it's just been, I'm going to help you do this. But we've had a couple of sponsors whereby
They're also like a coach.
They're all in one. You know, and it's rare, but we've had one or two sponsors that will sit us down and say, where are you going? What do you want to achieve this year? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What are the actionable plans you need to take in order to achieve this year? Stay loyal to your goals. We had a sponsor once that transformed our mindset. And from that transformation of simply just speaking those words and just letting us know that in everything that you do, you need to have a goal. And once you have that goal in mind, don't shift. Because you see, that goal kind of like narrows down to everything you do on a daily basis. It means that when you're negotiating with a client, you have that goal in mind. So if the goal is to, for example, build an event center, how are you going to get the funding for that event center? You need to stay loyal to your goals. It means that when someone is negotiating with you, there are some certain prices you will not go below because you need to be able to save XYZ towards the event center. For example, let's not even use event center because ideally for something like that, you should look for investors, but I'm saying that, for whatever it is you want to do, you need to be able to save XYZ to get it done. Maybe buy a house, maybe buy a property, maybe buy a car for the business, get an office, So it's important that you understand that you're supposed to save towards that goal. And how do you ensure that you charge properly? How do you ensure that the business remains profitable? How do you ensure that you're not doing free for everybody? Everybody's like, you're my sister, because you're trying to grow, you don't really, you can't charge properly. You can't get out of that cycle, You need to take a stance and say, that is my goal. I need to be loyal. Learn how to say no's. It's good to say no. It's good to set those boundaries. You need to learn how to do all those things. And that person, this sponsor, actually taught us so many things and was like, you can't achieve this goal if you keep doing this. You have to charge for this. You can't keep doing freebies. You can't do an event that is worth over 15 million and then you're being paid 200,000 for it. We've gone through times like that. You need to charge. There has to be a service charge because it takes a lot to put all this together. And you do it excellently. These are things that nobody would even do for them. And you've positioned yourself to be able to provide this service. You need to charge for it. So I think entrepreneurs really go through these kind of issues where, when do you strike a balance between business and pleasure? That relationship where you're not able to charge because you're being sentimental.
Yeah.
For business, you have to be, yes, but you need to stay loyal to that goal. That would make you charge. Charge the person. When you charge the person will scream, but you say, try and explain this and this and this is what we need to do. And another thing that's helped us really is to, anytime we get a brief, because of that goal that we're trying to achieve, we've been able to upsell to the clients, so we open the client's mind to places they never thought they could go in terms of implementation. And then because, like Funke was saying earlier, the way Tantacom started was just not wanting to do events, but wanting to do immersive events. And then we morphed into project management. And because for every opportunity that we found, we built a business around it. And that's how we've been able to grow. We build a business around it. So if the opportunity, a brief comes in and it's like a 360 brief, instead of us outsourcing to this person, there's still things that we outsource, but instead of us outsourcing completely, we find a solution to it, and then we build a business around it. So that's how we started our project management department, and that's how we started our marketing department, because these briefs gave us the opportunity to do OOH, gave us the opportunity to do advertising, we had to do it. There was a time I was a social media manager. I was on the social media, and we did everything ourselves.
Oh, wow.
We did everything ourselves because we wanted to be lean, and we didn't have any money. We had to grow organically, so we would stay endless sleepless nights. We would stay on the social media page. We'll get someone, outsource someone to do the graphic design. We'll do the graphic design. We would post it. We'll put all the captions. When we're doing that, we'll call the media people. We'll do the design. We'd call the media people to come and cover the event. We were everywhere. We did every single thing. Eventually, when it comes to implementation, we don't go home. We will drive in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. We're driving home. Do you understand? Because we have to be there on site. We will wear chair covers. We will carry chairs, arrange the table, ensure that the stage, anybody that messes up, we will get there and do the job. So those are some of the things that we had learned from where we were coming from, and we were able to use it to build our business. Nobody could do us shakara. Every single thing. Nobody's displaceable. Do you understand? Whatever it is that you're doing for me, trust me, I can do it. But as you begin to scale, as you begin to grow, you begin to look for specialized knowledge. You begin to look for people that can scale the company. And then we've found a way to surround ourselves with people that, some of them know more than us. Some of them know more than us, And I love it. So, yeah.
I like that. Speaking of the events that, you've covered and the jobs that you've done, which one gives you a very, very terrible memory?
question?
Yes.
Wow.
The one you look back at, you're like, oh my God, I almost lost a finger doing that job.
Okay, for a company like us, definitely yes. You can't say that you've not had that kind of experience before, right? I'm not going to mention the name of the event.
Okay, that's
but
fine.
there was a particular event that we handled sometimes back, and it didn't actually go well, like our other projects. And to think about it, as a client, you might not fully be aware that, okay, this is not what I wanted to achieve, right? You just thought everything might not be 100% for you, right? But to us, because we always have like a target in mind, right? From the day we are being sent a brief, we kind of have visualized everything and we know what we want to achieve, right? And if our client is not, like Jenny rightly said earlier, if our client is not telling us that we surpassed the expectation, then we are not fulfilled, right? And so this event, yes, there was a lot of not telling us some things at the right time. The payment was late, and it wasn't that the payment was late was an issue. If there had been prior conversation that, okay, this payment is going to be made at a particular time, then it won't be an issue. Like I told you earlier, there was a time that we've loaned money to do a project before. So no matter how big your project is, if it's something, you can have an agreement that, okay, I'm going to pay you on a particular day. You know, we run an agency, so it's not a problem. We always sort things like that out. But there was no communication, and this company, we're just working with them for the first time. There was no agreement on, okay, I'm going to pay you at a particular time. Do you understand? We got on the job, and everything was running late. In fact, venues was changed, a lot of things happened. And because of the person that recommended us, I would say I was very, there was a lot of sentiment around it. Because my normal self, I would have actually told them right there and then that we cannot go ahead with this. But because of the person that recommended us, I just wanted to place, right? So we went ahead to do the job, and it wasn't, let me say, I cannot give us a 60. And that is so unlike us. So it didn't go well. In fact, even before we completed the job, I knew as a project manager, you will know, because you have your timelines and all that. You know that, okay, if you're supposed to set up a place, and you must have given yourself timelines to do it. Okay, by this should take about 12 hours to do. And you spent about 6 hours and you're not halfway done, then you know that there is a problem. You know that you're not going to be able to meet up. So we already knew, like before the day, that it wasn't going to be the kind of event that we'll be proud of. And so I regretted the transaction. I was so mad at myself. And another thing that we're very good at is taking responsibilities. So in as much as what happened wasn't a full response, we are not supposed to take full responsibility for, because even the things that didn't go well wasn't like, it didn't have to do with us personally. It had to do with other contractors that we worked with. But the thing about it is that we are supposed to be the project managers for that event. So we should have ensured that everything is what it's supposed to be. But we failed at that. And when they were also not doing the right thing, we should have actually told them we're not going ahead with it. But we went ahead with it. We had it, and it wasn't something we're proud of. And we said a lot of things to ourselves. And that's another thing. So the way we make decisions, even if I was the one that made the wrong decision, right? And I went ahead with it. Chenny agreed with it. Instead of all, we don't push blames, right? So what I noticed between us is, let me use an example. Like we're supposed to do something and Chenny went ahead to do it. Even though I feel that she's not supposed to have said yes to it, but because she has said yes, and we just have to move on and do it. And the result of that thing is not something that we like. I'm not going to say, Jenny, I told you that we shouldn't do it. In fact, I'll just be looking at maybe we should, next time, that is the way we run.
Yeah.
And Jenny, on the other hand, is telling me that, I messed up. And you were saying it, so I shouldn't have. You understand? So someone is already saying that. Are you going to now rub it on the face that you should have?
You don't think within, you're thinking, you have done that.
So that's the way it works between us. I've never seen a situation where something will go wrong with Tantacom and I come to Jenny and say, Jenny, because this.
No.
Never. And she's never done that to me. So what we'll do is open conversation. And that's the other thing. Communication is very important when you are when you co-own a business. You need to communicate. You need to say your mind, and we say it in a very diplomatic way. So you'll see me come and say, oh, Jenny, and Jenny, like, what is wrong? I'm not happy at all. I had that job. I could have done this. And what I'm thinking about is, I am telling you what I didn't do. I'm not saying that, this person messed up. If this person had come on time, if this person had done this, I am coming to her and I'm telling her that if I had done A, B, C, D, we wouldn't have been here. And Jenny, on the other hand, is telling me, but you tried, you did this. And what she's trying to tell me is the things that I did right to actually ensure that the project is a success. And at that time, I'm not saying it because all I want to say, I want to look at a checklist and take everything 100%. Yes, there's no perfect being, but we are supposed to deliver an immersive experience for our clients. So there should never be a time where you leave them and they're doubting your expertise on anything.
Speaking of delivering excellence, what projects are you most proud of so far?
Wow.
Oh, I love the smile on your face. It's so broad. For both of you.
Okay, sure.
Okay. One project that has really, they're quite a number, but one project that has really made me happy and made me grow personally, and also Tantacom as a brand, as a company, has been there's a certain project that we did for Lagos State, and we were called to handle the marketing. I mean, the logistics hub had been built, and they had ran it, but they needed people to know about the hub. So they called us in, and we had to consult. So they called us in as consultants, and they told us what the problem was, and told us that they wanted to run a fair for the next 1 year, and we had to come up with a marketing plan to be able to drive traffic to the space and all of that. So it wasn't just a project; it was a project, but it wasn't just a one-time project. So it was for an entire year, and then what we did was we had to, of course, come up with a marketing plan. And of course, we drove a lot of traffic there. And from zero, in about 6 months, from like zero naira, we were able to drive the revenue of the hub to over 1 billion in about 6 months. Yes, from all the various activities that we had, so it was, I was very happy about that project. And then one of the things that we did was to also come up with, part of the things that we wanted to do was to have a competition as part of the projects that would drive traffic to the space. And that was when we birthed Eco Flavors. And Eco Flavors was a competition to elevate the chefs, foodpreneurs within the food ecosystem. And we came up with that competition, we came up with the plan, because we knew that if you mention the top 5 chefs in Lagos, you would mention people that you see online before you think about the people that you see offline. So and that's why, in terms of people like Ify, Diary of a Kitchen Lover, and all of them, it was important that we had a digital experience or digital arm of the competition before now coming to the physical. So we ensured that Eco Flavors, which is first of its kind, we ensured that it had the best of both worlds. So it meant that people had to show us how well they could come up with content, show us how well they could edit, show us how well they could this, because these are some of the strengths that these people have, and then when you share your edits with us, so you share us why you deserve to be the next Eco Flavors champion. So we ensured that we ran that campaign and it was successful. We had over 1,000 entries, and then we shortlisted up until the time we now had a physical event. So we had a physical event at the Fresh Food Hub to drive traffic to the Fresh Food Hub. And then we did that amazingly well. We had a lot of celebrities that came. You were one of them that came.
I was one of
them. So a lot of people that hadn't heard about the hub heard about it from the reason of Eco Flavor. So it was a huge success, and people came, and then we ensured that the contestants went alongside with the celebrities to shop in the hub, so we're able to project the hub and all of that. It was a beautiful experience for me. And that's when we were done with the project, we decided that, okay, what next? I mean, the top 20, yes, they were doing well, but they still are not like them, Ify and Dario, a kitchen lover.
Yeah.
And then so we're able to identify a gap and say, okay, you know what? We need to be able to have a masterclass for these people, to be able to teach them more about content, teach them about digital marketing, teach them how to shoot, teach them how to, monetize their craft, and that was how the idea of Culinara was born, so it was from that project, and, just ensuring that identifying a gap in the industry and, coming up with a solution to an impactful solution to be able to cover up that gap or fill that gap. And then that's how we came up with Culinara. And Culinara is basically our new baby, our latest baby, and it is redefining the food ecosystem. Redefining it through competitions, through conversations, which is Kitchen Connect, it's a summit, through Culinara Academy, which is where we're going to have the masterclasses and all of that. And then through media, because I think it's important that we tell the African story. I mean, African food stories, I mean, I feel that all our, top chefs, they do so well. How about you let the whole world hear about this and how beautiful our culture is and how much more we can do with our African meals and all of that. So that project is one of the most interesting projects, and one of the projects I hold very dear to my heart because of how it's been able to morph into from that to being able to build multiple projects and businesses that is currently redefining the food ecosystem. And you're going to hear a lot about Kitchen Connect and Culinara in the next coming months. Yeah.
So we know that entrepreneurs, have multi-million ideas. You wake up, you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to do that. Sometimes because of the economy, sometimes, because you just can't help it. But then how are you able to tell the idea that's worth pursuing?
Okay. Most of the time, we actually, like we said earlier, we are very prayerful, right? We are God-centric. And yes, so many ideas will come up. And I believe that when you have ideas, you need to also take it in the place of prayer. All right. So what we do majority of the time is when these ideas come, we don't just run with it. All right. When the ideas come like that, we think about it, we look into it, we look at the impact, because another thing that we do in Tantacom is we don't just want to have a business. We don't just want to make money from what we do. We want to be on the projects or from businesses that can impact lives, that can change lives, that can redefine whatever ecosystem that we find ourselves in. And so we think about it because we have those goals. And based on the fact that we have these goals, we look at it as, okay, does this idea, does it work? Does it work in alignment with our goals? Because aside making money from a project, you also want to do something impactful and all that. So if it works in alignment with what we want, where we want to be in 5 years, in 10 years, then we go back to it and tell our God, like, okay, Father, we have come. This is a project. Because any project we go on, it is not a project for me or for Jennifer. it is a project that should change lives, a project that should impact lives. It should be a kingdom-centered project, a project that will run and God will be proud of his babies, right? So that is what we do. So we'll take it to him because it has to be in alignment with him. Because if it's not in alignment with him, then we are not going to have the project. Do you understand? So I feel that has helped us a lot because by the time we take it to him and we pray over it, we do not get that peace with it within us, we don't go ahead. So what we do is when we think about everything as a business person is supposed to think about, and when we ensure that we tick all the boxes that we have, then we take it back to God and we pray over it until we get peace. Because if he's not going with us on that project, we are not going. So I think it has helped us over time to, work on a project that would, because if God is on a project with you, then there's nobody can put you can't fail. Because our God does not fail. So that has helped us because normally we have loads of projects. It's always coming. At times we sit and we think about the project and how we want to do. We want to do so much, so much, but at times we take ourselves back and say, okay, you know what? Let's look at it again. Can we really do all this? And does it work with where we want to be in 5 and 10 years? Does it work with what God wants us to do? And if it doesn't, then we don't go ahead with it.